Hey
Welcome
guys.
back.
What's going on?
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
We're getting a little started. Sorry to keep our audience members waiting this long.
Our
we
devout
knew we
followers.
knew they'd wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna send out $1 to each of you for every minute we started late. So just email me.
$27.
Per person.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all those viewers that have been on hold. Anyhow, today is April 22nd, 2026, and we'll be having our third episode of Billionaire Takedown, and we'll discuss relevant topics of the week. What do you guys got?
Well,
You can start, Mark.
so I want to start with the big news, which is that Iran has won this war definitively. I think that's beyond question now. You know, J.D. Vance is on his way to Islamabad, and the Iranians say, "Don't bother, because we're not going." And that doesn't result in increased hostility. And then Trump comes out with this tweet or truth, whatever you call them, that ends by saying, if we're going to make a deal or we're not going to make a deal, we're going to ink it all up. And until then, there'll be a ceasefire, essentially, however long that takes. So the ceasefire he made indefinite rather, and he can posture, but I don't think there's going to be any more military aggression from the United States or from Israel. Remember, he put a ban on Israel bombing Lebanon, which is another indication that Iran has won, because Israel listened when he turned around and said that they can't bomb Lebanon anymore. So I think all the indications are that Iran has won this war. I don't think that's questionable anymore. Tim, you look skeptical.
I am not a geopolitical expert, but I was listening to Alon Mizrahi, who is an Israeli Jew who left the country, and he's anti-Zionist, but his very native indigenous point of view is there's absolutely no way Israel's going to accept this. Israel cannot not be in a state of war.
What can they do about it?
They can continue to attack Lebanon.
Yeah.
They can, but if they do that, then Iran's going to blow up Tel Aviv.
I hope that's the case.
Eventually. Short term, probably not. Iran's definitely won militarily. I'd argue economically to a lesser degree, but they've still come out ahead. I think I'm not an expert either, but I know for a fact that at least behind the scenes, they're trying to constrain the Trump administration and not let them do exactly as they please. Because I was talking with Mark earlier, and there was a report that came out, and the report stated that they're hiding the nuclear codes from Trump. So if they're doing that, then there could be other things happening behind the scenes that we just don't know about. Maybe 25th Amendment kind of deal. I'm not so sure, but maybe there's an effort not only to rein Israel in, but to rein Trump in, because we all know Israel's not going to stop, and they're just going to call him up, remind him of the blackmail, and then they're off to the races again. They also want to having Iran blow up all the refineries in response to their infrastructure being hit would limit their ability to play the market and to do the insider trading. So there's also that angle.
Did you hear the story about the nuclear codes, Tim?
I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was terrific. That
General Kane.
He goes to Raising Cane and says, "Can I have the nuclear codes?" And Raising Cane says, "No."
I mean, it's still a big concern.
Concerning, but yeah.
Well, I'm pleased that one of my old pet theories has just been proven true. I never believed that the president had the nuclear codes and could do whatever he wanted with them whenever he wanted. I always thought that that was a far cry. There's too much establishment around the nuclear capabilities of the United States. There's no way that they're going to just let one man have sole access and decision making power over that, over the nuclear capabilities. And obviously, the president does not have that power because General Kane just turned around and said no.
We don't know the whole story. God forbid he wasn't there. We have no idea how close we are to Trump. He seems to be the kind of person who would do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Without remorse.
You all would admit to it.
I don't think he has any empathy. So I don't think he ever did. Some people say that he's got dementia now and that he's lost his empathy, but the man is a malicious narcissist, malignant narcissist, sociopath, without empathy and
no regards to consequences,
right?
Or giving or caring about other people.
Not at all.
So, yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of foresight either. He just kind of does things irrationally, and that's just going to get worse as his mind slips. More of the same. I also think that he might just fire the generals who are not like complying. I think he's already done that with a couple.
He
people
already
now.
has. He's fired
Yeah.
6 of them thus far.
Yep. So he just replaced somebody that'll give him the codes, and there's that. Or maybe the 25th Amendment him. We don't know. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
I think if one general says no, that means there's a certified check on him.
Right.
For the reason that I said earlier, I don't believe that the billionaires who are part owners of the nuclear capabilities will ever turn around and say, yeah, one person can hold them, whether it's Donald Trump or Joe Biden or Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton or whoever. They're not gonna put that amount of hardware in one person's hands. Because it's expensive.
Yeah, I would hope. Yeah, you would also.
That's
just hope
the only
not,
reason, because it's expensive.
There's not a lot of profit to be made in the end of the world. I wouldn't think so. Mark and I were talking about that too. Like, it's no guarantee that that the system survives. I mean, probably won't if something like that were to happen. Question is whether these people care or not.
Well, that's an interesting turn of phrase. Whether the system survives, I really want to celebrate the Iranians. I mean, they've done something that nobody else has been able to do, which is to.
It's not over. I don't think it's over.
I think it's over. I think it's over. They took the first shot believing that they could get a decapitation and that somebody amenable to the United States and Israel would replace them. That obviously failed entirely, which is also a really interesting story all by itself, because it's a testament to the system that the Iranians have built over the last 47 years. They've built a system designed to withstand the way that the United States conduct itself, and Israel, but mostly the United States. Obviously, Israel wouldn't have a hope in hell without the backing of the United States going after Iran. And one commentator, I don't remember his name, but he was being interviewed by Jeremy Scahill, said he doesn't know of another example in history where a country has taken on a superpower and has built a system underneath that war that is capable of standing up the entire country around it. And that's exactly what just happened. And I think the Iranians or the Iranians really need to be celebrated for that. And while there may be some room for continued military action, I for one doubt that. But even if it comes, what are they going to do? Bomb something? I mean, I understand that the 50,000 troops are out there, but I also understand that it's a very small proportion of those troops that are combat troops.
The United States is not going to be able to put down Iran's military capabilities with less than 3 million combat troops.
Right.
Even if they mobilize them, where would they go?
Sorry,
there's 1 million people in the Iranian army.
Yeah.
So
even if
typically it's 3 to 1 when you're invading, not even counting their terrain or their unity. It's probably 5 to 1. Now maybe it's not combat troops, but 5 million troops.
Yeah.
All the logistics in support of some percentage of that being in combat. The thing is, they'll get slaughtered. It's just it's not the 1990s.
And if you take
modern warfare has changed, the United States doesn't even have hypersonic missiles.
And if you take seriously what happened at Isfahan,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
that entire thing was an operation to get what Trump calls the nuclear dust. I still haven't figured out why he calls it nuclear dust, but whatever.
They obliterated it.
Is that why?
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
It's been obliterated, and therefore
been obliterated. So we really don't need to go get
sweep up the dust.
We'll just go get the dust.
You're probably right about that.
Of course, that's what he means by it, because he doesn't want to admit that there's no truth in the man at all.
No, his entire world is crumbling around him. If it wasn't for the world being at stake, people's lives.
That's the most enjoyable part of it.
Yeah.
But I'm concerned that he doesn't have it in him to stop, because he's going to be exposed now as having cost the United States of America hundreds of billions of dollars in losses, 13 bases, and Iran comes out in control of the Straits.
Not to mention the current
not a lot he can do about it.
I mean, short of nuclear war, there's nothing he can do. And if he were to do that, he would crash the global economy worse anyway.
Exactly. The gas prices are just the beginning.
It would cause a global war if he used the unconventional weapons on Iran. All society would just be over, game over. I mean, we might not all be dead right away, but the world would be just mayhem.
Global depression plus
there'd be an economic depression worse than what the United States had in the 1920s, far worse globally.
Yep.
But starvation, nuclear proliferation, Israel wouldn't survive. Somebody would have to take Israel out. Between Pakistan, Egypt, and Turkey, hopefully they would just fucking crush
Remember those billions of dollars worth of weapons that we've just dropped on Iran? That's fantastic for the billionaires, because they now need to be replenished.
Yeah, and we still don't have free healthcare or college in the United States. And as I understand it, just this little, what did he call it initially? This little excursion has cost enough that we could have provided free education and free healthcare to every American.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just like over and over again. Now the UAE is going bankrupt and they expect us to bail them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say screw that. No aid at all to Saudi Arabia, UAE.
How about no aid at all to any foreign country?
Nobody.
Except
Nobody
for
gets
Cuba.
our money. Nobody.
Well, what about Cuba? They can have some money, I would think. And
Well, that's
Iran could
reparations. That's
probably
different.
have. Iran could have some money.
That's compensation. That's different. Yeah.
Yeah, no more handouts. No more
No
financial
more
aid.
handouts.
Cancel Israel. 100%. Let's see how strong they are without the United States.
Let's see how long they exist without the United States.
Yeah. The other interesting thing that makes me believe that the Iran war is over is that suddenly, just suddenly, have you found yourself wondering for a month or a month and a half what the hell's going on in Ukraine?
A little
Suddenly,
bit.
now the Iran war has dropped, everybody's talking about Ukraine. It's suddenly right back at the tippity top of everybody's minds. That's not a coincidence.
It's not at all. And Ukraine's military just a couple of weeks ago, they bombed a Russian oil refinery within Russia, like Russia proper. They also targeted one of their ships in the Black Sea. It was a tanker that was carrying oil. So
I
the
was
U.S.
listening to Gilbert Doctorow earlier, and he takes the view that Putin is on shaky ground at the moment because he hasn't gone hard enough at anything. He's just swallowing so much shame. You know, the attack on his summer residence or whatever it was. Remember the attack on the Kremlin way back a couple of years ago now. The attack on the tanker, the attack on the refineries, that attempted to get through. I don't remember where it was.
He doesn't want to trigger a war with Europe.
No, he doesn't.
Why wouldn't he? He should.
It's just
Europe's
he
got
wants
nothing.
to sell Europe gas, really.
At this point, they might have to because they are dead set on starting a war with him, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
And they're not breaking with the U.S. Doesn't look like it, even though the U.S.
Well,
is screwing them.
the U.S. is breaking with them.
Right.
Oh, God.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
They
It's
want to
just
be
another
prepared for a
tryout.
war by 2030. Which shows how much they care about their citizens, too.
Of course. They're just a resource to them. That's it.
We really need. There's so many more of us than there are of them. If we would just come together, we could end them in 24 hours. I don't mean kill them all. I mean,
yeah,
take
back
over.
control. Yeah.
I think we need to. I don't know how to do it, and I'm sure lots of people are thinking about how to do it, and maybe that appearance by Cenk Uygur on Tucker Carlson is emblematic of it. But we need to unite the populist left with the populist right.
Yeah, Tucker should start a third party
before Elon Musk does.
Yeah, we don't want Elon Musk involved in our politics. That disgusting
pig.
Yeah, I think Elon Musk's popularity is very much dwindling. I think he will start a party, and it'll be so shit that it'll just fade into irrelevancy quickly. I mean, look what happened when he took Twitter over. I mean, there's no replacement yet because it's a de facto monopoly, but they've lost like a significant portion of their user base, probably like 35%.
Yeah, but hasn't the lion's share of that 35% gone to Truth Social?
Not really. To Blue Sky, which
is like Truth Social.
That too.
Yeah.
Who would go to Truth Social? That's a joke.
Yeah, no, Truth Social is like at most 100,000 people. Yeah, that's
really?
what Trump gets on his likes. Yeah, he gets like 100,000-ish likes on his posts, and he's like the biggest account on there. People are only there to look at what he posts.
So, do you think he only uses Truth Social because he owns it?
Yeah, and he feels personally slighted by Twitter,
Interesting.
and also Elon Musk. He doesn't like Elon Musk.
I don't buy that. I think Elon Musk has just been taken out of the taken out of the spotlight because he can be such an effective wrecker. And the minute he's needed again, he's going to be back front and center, and he's going to be talking about some fantastic thing that he's going to do. And he'll be he'll be the darling. He's adored by so many people.
I just think that at this point, I've been following him for a long time, since maybe around 2015. Progressively, I've seen more people catch on that he just basically oversells everything. He never hardly delivers on anything. A lot of people are kind of waking up to him, I think. He still has a cult following, of course, but I don't know. I think he's also, I've heard reports of him just being super, super unlikable, like in person, and he's just kind of a douchebag. And so I think Elon desperately wants to be popular, but the more he wants to desperately be popular, the less popular he actually becomes.
Well, he bankrolled and dated Amber Heard, so there's plenty of room for douchebaggery there.
Yeah.
I know the woman. I know the woman that his brother married personally. His
I didn't
brother.
know he had a brother.
Yeah, they did PayPal together. His brother's a billionaire also. He just doesn't have as high a celebrity. Anyway, he married a woman I knew. I haven't spoken to her in a very long time. She was the daughter of a billionaire, actually. But she was at an event with other billionaire kids who had a conscience, and it was like an event for rich kids who want to make a difference in the world. I think that's where I met her.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, she's not a kid anymore. She's probably in her 40s, but I met her when she was in her 20s, I think. No big deal, just a weird anomaly of a connection. I'm 1 degree of separation from Elon Musk. If I needed to be.
That must feel very comfortable.
I don't care. You know, I realize I'm 1 degree of separation from a lot of people. You know,
Victor, what did you have?
Even like the fact that we know Diane or Max or Garland, for example, like some of these people there, you know, they know Trump. You know, Tucker knows Trump. Not that we're friends with Tucker, but
maybe one day.
Hopefully he'll have you on his show.
You should go
so
on
yeah, my thing about Trump though is I just feel like he can't lose. And I don't think he's going to be able to spin this. So how is, without going back to kinetic warfare, he's
done.
Yeah, he's done.
He's done.
It's a question of how bad is it going to get. And
well, it can't get much worse than it has. I mean,
the only way it gets worse is if they send like 20,000 troops to just die, and then they cover it up more and more.
I'm not worried about Iran. I'm worried about what he does here.
Well, it can get a lot worse here with the economy too. Like if they blow up the rest of the refineries in the region, you get we talked about it. I mean, the amount of and he also, keep in mind, he wants to he's gearing ICE up to steal the election and to rig the results of the election. He already did it somewhere, I think. They seized the ballots just a couple days ago. So he's like you're screwing the public. The gas prices are going through the roof. People's cost of living is already high enough. That's going up now because of this. If there's a depression and then he tries to steal the election, what do you think happens there? I mean,
Civil uprising for sure.
yeah.
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 Well, that's why I'm selling my house and moving out to the country.
Don't blame you. He's building a bunker underneath his. He wanted to build that ballroom. I think they canceled the ballroom, but they're still building the bunker. So, why is he building a bunker out of nowhere?
Because he knows the best people to build bunkers. It'll be the greatest bunker in the history of the world. That's why he's building a bunker, because all he knows how to do is build.
Have other people build for him.
It'll
He
be
could
the.
make money running a
and in
casino.
reality, it'll be the ugliest bunker ever to have been built.
It won't be up to code, and it'll implode because he's gonna cut corners like he did with his hotels.
I'm cautious of there being a false flag of
Me
some
too.
kind
Yep.
that
will be.
would
There will be.
allow him to just clinch power and keep his administration in power, which I predicted many years ago, all of this. And it caused my family to reject me at the time.
That's the only. You're right. I'd forgotten about that. He's done, but that's the only move left.
Declare a national
Yeah,
emergency.
martial law, and or false flag, and or rigging the election, because he's going to get destroyed, and he doesn't want to go to jail. And there would be nothing better. Oh my God, what a gift it would be if he would go to jail. If we could get him and his whole cabinet into jail and Netanyahu in jail.
We should put him in jail in his apartment in Trump Tower, give him absolutely no help other than a guard, and watch him move around and see if he can tie his own shoelaces. It should be televised 24/7 because he likes to be on TV.
Yeah.
No, I think they should put him in a cell. They should put him where El Chapo is.
They should switch him out for Maduro and his wife. That's what they should do.
Anyway, just silly fantasies here. We still have 0 views.
How could that be? Maybe it's just because we were late.
Maybe. They're like, I'll do something else.
I think all of our millions of fans, they got tired of waiting, so they just left. All right, so the Iran war, Mark thinks that the Iran war is over.
I do.
Let's just play this out a little bit more and then move on. Let's say that it is the case and Israel is restrained because they can't attack Iran without the United States. They'll just get fucking pummeled. They can't nuke Iran because, again, it'll just end them.
Well, they could.
We don't really know how much damage they have. We know they're pretty economically distraught. We know they've suffered some damage. We don't know how much it's impacting the state or the society. But this would mean that Iran would slowly grow more and more powerful. And Israel will probably continue to lose friends and influence to the point where, I mean, by the time, Victor, your age group is in power, I don't see Israel getting any support from the United States, but that might be a few elections away.
Yeah.
I wish it was today. You know?
It's certainly electorally popular. So, I mean,
we would just love to see Israel fend for themselves. That's all we're asking for. Just no more weapons and no more money to Israel. That's all we got to do. They will have to disappear.
So,
or they will have to change.
Right. On that front, AOC, she's like what you would call the progressive populist left elected of the electorate.
Oh, this is another terrible situation we have. That the pendulum is just going to swing to the Democrats again.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Same
thing. Third party.
No change.
We got to take down the billionaires. We need People's Party, not an AOC, not anybody who's going to give lip service to Israel and play this political game.
I
Need to
tell
burn
you,
it down.
one guy who's come across my radar. I mean, I've known about him and known about him for a long time, and he was somebody who I really liked and then came to distrust. Not so dissimilar from Obama, not so dissimilar from Bernie Sanders, and not so dissimilar from AOC. But he seems to be doing a very interesting and cool job at the moment, and that's Ro Khanna.
Thomas Massey would be great.
Thomas Massey would be great, and those two work together. Those two as a pair, one president, the other vice president. That could
seems like a legitimate ticket, but they're Democrats though,
right.
so I don't trust
third party.
Yeah, anyone that's a Democrat or a Republican, I don't know. I can't. I've been burned enough, and I'm not that old.
I mean, the Libertarians or the Independents should take all of Congress. There should be
and the
all
Greens.
the anti-Israel. There should be just
in the Greens,
tons of anti-Israel candidates.
We just need a new party.
My whole platform would be cancel Israel. Vote for me. No money to Israel ever.
That's it.
It's over.
And they can't buy our weapons. They can't buy our weapons anymore.
No, we're not selling them weapons either. They have to. They have to deal with the consequences.
Yeah, and because we have so many charlatans that are saying like, oh, if Israel wants weapons, they need to pay for them themselves. What does that mean?
I've been hearing that too.
The hell out of here! Like
they
think we're dumb. They think we're dumb.
Israel, do it on your own. Get there on your own. Let's see who you.
We are dumb. We are dumb. They're in power in a constitutional republic, and they're in power because we're not doing anything about it. We are dumb.
Maybe it's not about intelligence.
I don't think it is.
It's something
else.
But I nonetheless believe that they believe that we're dumb.
Well, America has been dumbed down. I mean, there's no civic awareness. It's lifeless. Where's the resistance?
I mean, you try talking to your average person about Russia or Israel or Iran, and they look at you like you've got two heads.
I know. Yeah. It's very overwhelming and depressing. Very fucking depressing. I was, I have an uncle who, he's a baby boomer, and because he's into the alien stuff, every once in a while I send him stuff on this, and he does acknowledge that there was a genocide. But I sent him something like the other day about America taking out all of these oil refineries and how it's, there's more of a pirate approach going on. And he wrote back, oh, yeah, but I think it's good when we take out the Russian oil refineries. And I'm just like, where do they get this from? It's just, it's so distressing.
That notion of weakening Russia because Russia's a threat is so ingrained in the Western psyche. You remember that movie from 1984, Reds?
People don't even examine. They don't even look. It's just like, just do some research. Don't just regurgitate what's on TV. And I think I mentioned it last week. I had turned on like Fox News for just like a minute. It was astounding to me. The lies. It's worse than any communist propaganda. All you have to do is just compare reality to what they're saying on Fox News. And people should see the discrepancy, but they can't. Americans don't even know. They'll punch me in the nose for telling them this.
They're not even willing to look. Yeah.
I wrote something about propaganda yesterday. Can I read it to you?
Yeah.
Go for it.
It's not long. It's one paragraph. It's titled When Propaganda Works. Propaganda is easy. It's painting a narrative, facts be damned. Maduro, Hussein, Putin, Khomeini, etc., all Hitler. It's a narrative. It's not based on facts. It is designed to raise emotions rather than thoughts. It also, by definition, has no competitor. Independent media has double duty, not only to explain the same event being explained by propaganda, but to also have to explain why the propagandist is wrong. The only time propaganda can ever work when it mostly doesn't have to explain anything to anyone. Independent media is winning this war, and the billionaires or Epstein class cannot afford that.
You didn't write that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, like they never they tell you. I mean, they tell you about the Holocaust and like the what Hitler did, but they don't tell you how the U.S. was heavily invested in the Nazi war machine beforehand. They don't tell you that American billionaires like Henry Ford actually wanted to fund both sides, even though the country was at war with them. He wanted to continue doing business as usual and to let everybody just kill each other while he profits. They
And the
don't tell you that.
Rothschilds did fund both sides.
Yep. Yep.
They also tell us that we beat Hitler, which we
Alone.
didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's astonishing how simple it is. You know, Ayatollah Khomeini, Hitler, Saddam Hussein, Hitler, Vladimir Putin, Hitler.
Hamas. Hamas.
Yeah.
It
Hezbollah.
just works. I mean, I don't know what. I don't know why it works.
People just they don't look into it at all. They just take it at face value. It seeps into their subconscious and they don't even remember when they heard it for the first time. They never looked into it to begin with. There's no introspection. That's why I was saying last week, this is why they're trying to make people just use AI and not think for themselves at all. Cognition is a national security threat. They don't want people.
I like that one.
Yeah, they don't want people to think, and they don't want people to think, and they also don't want people to own the means in which you can access different information. They don't want people to have access to consumer electronics. They want to make them. They want to price everybody out of the market, and they want to, at the manufacturer level, have these companies just not make it easily available to the public anymore. That's why that's one of the reasons why you're seeing all these firms like Samsung, Western Digital, what's the other one? I'll think of it, but like computer part manufacturers that make hard drives, SSDs, CPUs, everything. They don't want people to be able to own their own computers so that they can do their own research and have their own independence. They want to just own everything, and if you're doing something they don't like, they could just cut off your access to it. There's nothing you can do about it.
You remember those comedians who came around during COVID and started saying, "Don't do your own research into COVID. Just don't research it yourselves."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Think it was a psyop.
You know, the answer to that question is no, I don't, but it wouldn't surprise me if it turned out to be.
That's usually what I say about things also.
Everything's a freaking psyop.
Yeah, nothing surprises me anymore, unfortunately. Because COVID's another one where it's like they did like half-assed lockdowns. They got people to basically be miserable over it, and you have no more lockdowns, which means that you shouldn't have done them to begin with. Now you have COVID spreading everywhere. Nothing's really being done to manage the spread at all. They just did the lockdowns and basically were like, "Yep, it's over." And now we're seeing all these health complications from like long COVID and people having all of these issues. There was never like Like, shouldn't we have like people researching this and like platforming their voices, like the virologists? We didn't have any of that because
Well, we do have those people.
right, those people exist, but they're not being given. When was the last time you saw them on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News?
Well, some of them. I mean, what Jay Bhattacharya is now the head of the CDC, right?
I'm not familiar.
Jay Bhattacharya. Oh, he's I don't know. He was head of epidemiology at Stanford, I think, and him together with Sunetra Gupta, who was the head of epidemiology at Oxford, and a guy called Martin Kulldorff, who's the head of epidemiology at Harvard. And when I say head of, I don't actually think that that was their title, but they had a senior position in the epidemiological field in Stanford, Harvard, and Oxford. And they wrote a somewhat famous document called the Great Barrington Declaration, which was published in April, I think, of 2020. And it argued that lockdowns would cause far more damage than help, and that everybody who was at risk could be protected without the lockdowns. It's something like 160,000 or 200,000 doctors signed on to the Great Barrington Declaration, but there was not a word of it in the New York Times, in the Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, not a word. Three of the most distinguished experts on epidemiology in the world.
That's another lawsuit.
Well, they actually they ended up, well, not they, Jay Bhattacharya ended up suing on free speech grounds. Yeah, I shouldn't talk about that because I can't remember what precisely the lawsuit was about. But
Censorship. Again, extreme censorship. There's no marketplace of ideas here.
it's extreme censorship.
You can't even, if you talk about COVID on YouTube, and you're not like a licensed or an official channel, you get at very least shadow banned. Sometimes they'll put something under your video that says COVID-19, whatever. They don't want people talking about it. Period. I don't.
One of the most important things in the world to talk about now, I think. Now that we're out of it, now that the emotions have died down a little bit.
I agree. There's so much that that medical professionals are discovering that people ought to know, like what to look out for. I don't see any dialogue of it at all. It's like it didn't happen. It's like it's in the past and we should never speak about it ever again. I just completely get blackout.
Yeah, as I understand it, a lot of those long COVID symptoms also come from the vaccines.
There's a chance. With any vaccine, there's a chance of side effects, and it wouldn't surprise me that those side effects, like myocarditis, is a one-sided example. You can get myocarditis from the vaccine. You can. You can get other symptoms of other diseases from other vaccines. There's always a risk factor for taking them. And yeah, like nothing's being discussed at all. I think part of the reason is because they did the lockdowns. They don't want people discussing COVID because it had a negative impact on the economy, and they want people to go back to work. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's seen as like something you shouldn't cover.
Well, I
But
have to say that the last thing in the world I expected to be talking about on this particular stream is COVID. But but there you go.
yeah,
It ties in with everything else. I just don't know that much about it.
We should do a whole episode on COVID because boy, did that benefit the billionaires.
Oh, absolutely. Amazon specifically, and all the web stores and the tech companies. I think Zoom quadrupled, quintupled in price, the stock
Well,
price.
Zoom didn't exist before COVID.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it was out there, but nobody knew what it was. And then
I
within
do.
about a month or two, everybody knew what Zoom was.
Any other topics?
Well, I saw somebody. It was a student at a school. She made a joke. It was the dumb joke. It was in poor taste. But she said, like, what did she say? It was about Netanyahu. She was like, "Oh, Netanyahu, like XYZ, do something." And basically, the Florida government arrested her for it. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, I thought that was in
I did
Israel.
see it, and I didn't understand. I didn't understand what the joke was. I didn't really care what the joke was, but I didn't see why it was so offensive either.
Hmm.
We should do it. Whatever it was, I'll do it again.
Do you remember what she said?
I have the clip if you guys want to watch.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, put it up right now.
We should put out the absolute most offensive thing possible about Netanyahu. Let him come and arrest me. Let's do it.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
In a WhatsApp group chat of about 215 students, where students were discussing an event that was to take place Friday at the Ocean Bank Convocation Center on campus to make their capstone presentations. An FIU police officer read some of the statements in court.
The exact words utilized was, "There's going to be a bomb in the Ocean Bank Convocation Center, and it's going to be at Jonathan's fault," one of the members in the chat.
7 News obtaining some bits of that chat. It seemed the student wanted the event rescheduled and wrote, quote, "Netanyahu, if you can hear me, drop some bonbons for us capstone students in Ocean Bank Convention Center." Other students wrote they didn't take that text lightly. She later in the chat wrote, quote, "I wrote a dumb joke that should not have been made."
I can understand your position, Ms. Corey, and you're saying this is a joke, but to an objective person, it's not a joke, and there would be enough for probable cause. I'm not saying it's enough for beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know what the state's going to be able to prove at trial, but for purposes of this hearing, I believe there is enough for probable cause.
Have you not heard of the First Amendment?
Yeah.
That's a judge.
Yeah, a judge. Yep.
Blindly, wantonly trampling over the First Amendment, saying there's enough for probable cause.
What? Probable cause?
And she didn't even say bombs. She said bonbons, which I assume is supposed to be bombs.
But why was she saying drop some bombs on us?
Because for example, it's a trend that's happening online. So I saw someone in traffic. They were like, "Benjamin Netanyahu, this is a Hamas terrorist in front of me. Bomb this car." Because like he got cut off or something like that. Like that was, yeah.
Well, we should put out the most offensive statement possible.
Well, nothing will happen in New York. The reason it's happening in Florida is because Florida's got we don't care about the First Amendment laws. I mean, New York's got some of them too, but Florida's one of the 33 or however many states it is that will deny a contractor. They force a contractor to sign a document saying that they'll never say anything bad about Israel before they'll give them any work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should attack all of that stuff.
Well, Abby Martin sued Florida. No, sued in Georgia and won.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
we
that's
should
awesome.
we should get the whole nation, every one of these states that has these any kind. Texas, you're not allowed to criticize Israel. You're not allowed to boycott Israel.
I don't know if Texas is one of them, but it could well be.
Yes, Texas has laws where you're not allowed to criticize the cattle industry,
Yeah, there's a food
and you're
defamation
not allowed
law.
to criticize Israel or boycott Israel or promote boycotting for Israel because they're Christian evangelicals down there. I say we turn it upside down. We got to get people in every one of these states to just challenge and these judges need to be removed from power if they do not recognize the fundamental right of an American. Period. It's the goddamn First Amendment. There's no such thing as hate speech.
Oh, and I'll do you one better. I don't know what the language is, but I guarantee you that the Florida state constitution has got really, really broad language on.
I mean, let's rent a billboard in Florida or Texas that criticizes Israel, and give them my name and address.
Here we go.
Let's do this, man. Let's fucking put up critical billboards in every state in America that has laws against doing it.
Yeah. So Florida's Article 1, Section 4 of Florida's Constitution is much more protective than the First Amendment. It's similar to New York State's, and it says, quote, every person may speak, write, and publish sentiments on all subjects, but shall be responsible for the abuse of that right. No law shall be passed to restrain or abridge the liberty of speech or of the press. Every person may speak, write, and publish sentiments on all subjects.
I guess it's a question of what do they interpret as abuse of the responsibility, right?
That tends to be, well, historically, what that meant was whether it was defamatory or not.
I bet you this episode will go viral now. if we put out the clarion call for folks to step up and donate, and let's hatch a plan to put up billboards that criticize Israel in every state that has laws against it, and let's go fucking toe to toe with the First Amendment. Let's do it.
And at the same time, can we hatch a plan to take down the billionaires?
I have a couple ideas. You gotta start a party. That's the number one thing. You need to start just a completely new party.
Why hasn't somebody started a party in 200 years?
A worthwhile one. Yeah.
No, I think there's a reason why there's only a two-party system.
I'll tell you exactly why it is. Because the billionaires write the election laws. It's as simple as that. I mean,
Yeah, they just make it incredibly difficult for a third party to do anything.
Do you know Andrew Cuomo? When was he removed from office? In 22, I think.
I think so.
Anyway, it used to be the law in New York State that in order to get on the ballot as an independent candidate, you needed to get 15,000 signatures from, well, anyway, it doesn't matter, 15,000 signatures. Andrew Cuomo, apropos of nothing, raised that number to 45,000.
Damn.
It's really difficult.
Yeah, it's monumental to do.
Hard enough to get 15, but I tell you what, Diane said did it twice. Once when she ran against Chuck Schumer, and once when she ran against Kirsten Gillibrand.
He's another one that needs to go down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, both of them are Gillibrand and Schumer. They both need to go down.
It's starting to feel impossible again. You know, it's like there's so what you need to become governor to fucking undo these things. You know, and you can't get there because we can't get 45,000 votes or you know, coverage or in the media. It's like it's constantly an uphill battle with these demons.
You also have the machine too. The Democrat Party of New York State is a machine in and of itself. Yeah, and the Republicans too. You need enough people within the state Congress to do it.
But it's not just the barriers to entry. It's also very difficult to get people to cohere and unite around one person or one party. I mean, I think that we've got to get the Libertarians and the Greens together and then get DSA on board and get every little party on board.
Yeah, and get as many people that are willing from those orgs as we can, and just make something new, make a new organization. Because if you don't do that, you know, I don't know what else. I mean,
Manna, I say, make America new again.
yeah. Yeah, I because look at Zoran. I mean, he went through the DSA and he just became part of the Democratic Party. You know, he had a meeting with Obama recently. I mean, that just shows, that signals where his allegiance is. I mean, it's pretty transparent to me.
Well, it could just be slick politicking too. I mean, Obama's still for whatever reason, none of them good. He's still incredibly popular with the Democratic base.
Yeah, you know, I've seen the moves that he's making. I don't know. I don't see how he's going to be. Because the thing is, he's limited, obviously, too, by Albany, by some people on city council.
Well, he's only limited because he doesn't have 5 million people standing behind him.
Right. Right.
Who doesn't?
Zoran.
Yeah. Pretty much, he doesn't have people willing to strike or anything, because they made that illegal. If you're like fire department, DSMY, sanitation, you can't strike. They made it illegal.
All right. Well, this is a more complicated hornet's nest, Gordian knot to untie, taking down the billionaires. That's kind of what I was hoping Iran would do.
Yeah,
They might take the economy down.
I
think
think
eventually.
I think
I'm sorry to say, Tim, Iran doesn't give a shit about us, and nor should it.
No,
of
course.
They have to focus on their own thing for sure.
Of course.
But yeah, but putting up billboards across the country that criticize Israel in states where they have laws that say it's against the law, I don't know. I kind of like that antagonism. That feels like something I could sink my teeth into and actually win at. I mean, that would be progress. If we could get these if we could win against these states like Abby Martin did and reset these precedents and start getting people to stand up for their First Amendment, right? That's worthwhile to me.
I wonder what this young girl's lawyers are doing.
Who's that?
Whose lawyers?
The one who made the bonbon joke.
Oh, yeah, right. Hopefully, she doesn't have some public defender. Should be somebody like you that steps in and says, "Hey, I'll fight this case for you. This is a First Amendment issue." Maybe it should be you, Mark. Maybe you should reach out to her.
I'm not licensed in Florida.
Oh, you'd have to take the Florida bar, wouldn't you?
No, theoretically, I could be admitted pro hac vice, but I don't know any lawyers in Florida.
That's easy enough. I know people. Wow. Anyway,
Don't
there's,
don't go getting all down on bringing down the billionaires. That's the whole point of this
I'm
thing.
not down. I'm not down on it. I'm just overwhelmed by it and
Yeah.
feel like it's why for so long I have been cynical and resigned and have felt as if it's going to take state power to break the back of America so that we can reorganize and reset around values and principles that promote human life and humanity and not machines, surveillance, control, profitability at all costs, etc. So I've been waiting 30 years for America to undo itself. That's why when seeing this, I'm very happy that Iran is going to be able to move forward, hopefully, in a progressive manner in their society. But they haven't quite broken the back of the West yet. I mean, we'll see where this is all going to lead. I mean, there's going to be ramifications to just this 2-month impact on the oil supply, right? So there are going to be domino effects, but my whole life is dedicated to seeing a transformation take place, not incremental change, but a reset, a complete reset, like the birth of a new order. That's what I'm playing for.
Me too.
Yep, as am I.
And I think that the only way to do that, the only realistic way to do it, and also the right way to do it, is to rebuild the middle class.
Everything on that you're saying, it all is fundamental toward the goal of this billionaire takedown, really the transformation of society, right? We need to take down the billionaires. We need to build up the middle class. We need critical thinking, not to be a national security issue. We need truth. We don't have any truth. I mean, where do we start? It's like there's problems everywhere. We're swimming in lies. You can't get anywhere with all this propaganda. So yeah, there's rebuilding middle class. There's the propaganda issue. There's
also suing the New York Times.
And
right.
Yeah, there's complicity with genocide. There's genocide still happening. I don't want to open up a whole nother can of worms, but I saw some stuff about what's going on in Gaza this week and in the West Bank.
It's sick.
Yeah, it's apocalyptic. It's disgusting.
Yeah. I don't have words for it. It's just so heartbreaking and devastating that people are getting away with this. There is no accountability. They're not holding these Israeli settlers to account. They're mass murdering people. And the world is letting them get away with it. It's painful. It's just, I'm really at a loss. I feel embarrassed at how inarticulate I am right now, but it's emotionally, it's so overwhelming to not be able, like what's going on is just, it's so wrong. And the fact that such a huge percentage of society believes the propaganda and the lies, it just feels almost impossible to overcome, which leads me to a much more calamitous outcome, which is just like, bring it, fucking burn it down. Something has got to break this thing so that so that their throats aren't being slit and left on the side of the road.
Something needs to happen in which, like, where people not only are aware of it, but actually care and are willing to do something about it. Like, society's just so asleep. And I, you know, I can't say I feel disheartened because I'll always hold out hope, but like frustrated. Yeah. I mean, it's just like talking to people day to day. There's just so much work that has to be done in order to get people up to speed with what's going on. Just, it's a lot. People around the world see it, but I'm talking about Americans broadly.
Do they? Because I bet you if you go to Italy, they're probably on the right side of history regarding the genocide in Israel, but they're on the wrong side when it comes to the Ukraine thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Okay?
right.
They're
Right.
brainwashed
True.
against Russia there, that everything has to, like it's like Putin is just trying to take over Europe. They all believe that.
Hmm.
It's quite a time for humanity. I don't think it's ever been this bad. Anyway, we got to educate people, right? So,
Do you think, because I think that Ukraine and the genocide in Palestine happened at the same time intentionally?
no,
Yeah, not
You
really.
don't?
I don't, because I think October 7th happened because of Netanyahu's political issues. He was going to go to jail, so he needed that event. And there were stand down orders, and Israel knew that was coming, and they let it happen.
Yep.
But I think that's the doing of Netanyahu. I don't think there's like a greater group that's really in control of the world, like the bankers. And there are these groups that have, and these people who we don't know who have that kind of influence. But in this case, I watched the BB files, and I would say October 7th is probably the doing of the current Netanyahu administration to secure their power, to prevent Netanyahu from going to jail, and to make the progress that they've made in having, they probably thought they were going to win in Gaza, right? And then they probably thought
They
would
have
be able
won.
They have actually not defeated Hamas.
Well, but they have got what, 2 million Palestinians
Yeah,
in
it's arguable.
a tiny portion of the country.
Yeah.
They
in
could
that
drop
regard.
they could drop a very small number of bombs and wipe them out. Right? They don't have to destroy. They've destroyed the vast majority of the country, and they've gotten away with it. They haven't been held accountable for anything by anyone. How is that not a victory?
Oh, they need to be held accountable. We need to make it our lifelong missions to hold them accountable. Yeah, I will. I will never rest.
Who was it the other
that one
day who
either.
said Netanyahu should be arrested? It was a politician in the United States.
Oh, right. I did hear about that. Somebody in the United States, yeah.
Who
I
said
knew
that?
the president-elect of Hungary said that he would honor the ICC ruling. But you're right. There was an American politician. I don't recall.
And
who
he
it was.
did say Netanyahu should be arrested.
He said we should follow the laws, but it took some cajoling, because initially he was like, no, Netanyahu can come here. We won't arrest him. So.
Oh, I thought Magyar had been more direct than that.
Maybe he was, Mark. Maybe I didn't follow it as closely as you did. But I'm now hung up on this point of Israel has got to be held accountable.
Israel's got to go.
I think it should get to the point where we have Zionist hunters, just like we had Nazi hunters that traveled around the world and captured these people and brought them to justice. I think that we should have Zionist hunters here in the United States and all over the world. We should take these motherfuckers and bring them to court and hold them accountable and put them in jail.
Yeah,
well, let's do that to the. I mean, Israel couldn't exist without the backing of the billionaires.
Let's go take Yoav Gallant captive and cross the border into Jordan and arrest him. You know what I mean? Or fucking into Egypt and have him arrested. Let's get fucking teams of people doing shit like this.
Last time I checked with my own history, I am not a special forces operative.
Well, I think what we could do at the very least is do everything in our power to ensure that Israel no longer exists as a state, and that there's some sort of reckoning that that essentially gives the land back to the Palestinians and to everybody who's been displaced.
They need to be held accountable for their crimes.
Yeah.
They must be held accountable for their crimes, even if it's truth and reconciliation, like in South Africa. But the accountability needs to be there, even if it's forgiven. They need to be held accountable. There's no moving forward in a healthy way until there is accountability, and we are at an all-time low in American society. I mean, we have a leader, a president who
he is emblematic of the society.
Yeah, he is an expression of weak men. He is a very cowardly and weak man who cannot take any responsibility for himself. Liars are weak men. I know there are lots of powerful people who lie, but they're not powerful. They're weak and they're cowardly and they're hiding behind some form of external power, but it is not real power.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anyway, yeah, are we at a low point in our society? I don't think it's ever been this bad.
Certainly not in our lifetimes.
I think it had to have been better before our lifetime because the corporate class wasn't as strong. The middle class was much stronger. And I do believe that people were educated in civics and they were indoctrinated into their rights. I think people had much more of an awareness of the Bill of Rights and of what authority, the police and the government had over them. I think people really understood themselves to be sovereign individuals who empowered the government with limited power to perform certain services, and I think that was probably a very strong bastion of American consciousness up until probably the 1970s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly been deteriorating in the 20th century. And, we could save the history lesson for another day, but things really changed in the Civil War. Because the Civil War is what broke. It's when the monarchists from Europe were able to get their financial system into our country. There was a battle for 150 years over what kind of central banking system we would have, and whether or not it would be a usury-based, debt-based system like the Bank of England. And there were battles. In fact, Andrew Jackson, who I'm not a fan of, won on the platform of he would kill the central bank. I mean, this was one of the biggest issues in American society for 100 years was we can't let the imperialist bank into this country. It'll be the death of us. And during the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln was backed into a corner and he had to make concessions to the European bankers. He's on record as having said, or I think written in one of his letters, I have two enemies, the South and the bankers. And of the two, the worst are the bankers.
Mm.
So they forced him into accepting some limited form of their system. And that was it. Once they got a foothold in, by 1913, that's another history lesson. There's a famous book called The Creatures of Jekyll Island, which outlines the story of this conspiracy to create the Federal Reserve in 1913. Oh, do you have the book there, Mark?
I thought I did. I thought it was more convenient.
Yeah, and it was done in secret, right? And it was conspicuous and illicit and against society to do it.
Against the consent of the governed.
But the billionaires of the day met in secret on Jekyll Island and created the law, which they then pushed through for the Federal Reserve.
And of course, the British
That was
were
a big problem.
angling for that at the beginning. You know, there were a lot of loyalists at the time of the
Yes,
revolution,
including
and
Alexander Hamilton.
yeah,
Okay, he was a loyalist to the monarchistic system of banking. He may have been a patriot to the American cause, but he very much believed, which is why he's buried on Wall Street.
Is he really buried on Wall Street?
yeah.
Alexander
Okay.
Hamilton is buried on Wall Street at that church on Wall Street, and it's because he established the first central bank.
He ostensibly founded Wall Street.
Right, he
At
founded
least
Wall.
founded it as the incarnation of finance, global finance.
The European bankers understood through the centuries preceding the American experiment that with a usury-based banking system, which means that they declare the currency into existence, they use the society becomes the
Debtors.
yes, but what do you call it when you provide something for a loan, something material?
Security.
Yeah, the security or the
Collateral?
collateral. Yes. So the citizenry becomes the collateral for the debt. That's what we have here in the United States, right? We, the people, have told the government that they create money, but they concocted a scheme whereby we are not using money, we're using debt. Another violation of the Constitution, Mark, right? Because doesn't it say in the Constitution that Congress passes laws and is in control of money?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've given control of money to a private bank
To a
called the Federal
private
Reserve,
group of people.
not
Yeah.
federal, and it's not a reserve.
Yeah.
It's called the Federal Reserve to manipulate you.
Yeah.
It's a private banking system
Yeah.
that has been given the privilege of creating money out of nothing without any assets or security. And once you're able to establish that system at scale, you control the world. And that's what during the first 150 years of this country was it was a great civil conflict. In fact, when I was making a documentary film initially about the future of the financial system, the premise of my documentary was that the Revolutionary War, the war against England, was actually fought over money. It was fought over the autonomy and the sovereignty of having our own financial system, because it was in the late 1760s, Britain outlawed the colonies' use of their own currencies. Each colony had its own currency system, and they were thriving. Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin are on record as having observed how successful and how much employment and how much GDP, for lack of better terms, that there were prior to this law that Parliament set in England, because they wanted to collect taxes in British Crown to pay for the French Indian War. They felt that they were due it from us, and we had our own currency system. So in the 1760s, they outlawed these currencies. And in 1774, the Massachusetts Bay Colony committed treason by reissuing currency again. So that's why Britain attacked Massachusetts Bay initially, because they were the first colony to defy the crown and to start printing their own money again. And if you read the reasons in the Declaration of Independence, even though it doesn't explicitly use the term money, because the citizenry at the time understood, it was implicit in their understanding that they were fighting for that level of sovereignty in their financial system, not taxation without representation, but actually, no, we are going to create our own banking system. That was actually at the heart of the revolution. And
Well, of
what we've
course,
actually become is we've become the empire that we overcame in 1776.
of
We
course, they
overthrew
did the
that
same
empire.
thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then in England, soon thereafter, I mean, I can bring out all the receipts for this because 20 years ago I did all the research. There was an article in a big British paper that said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Let them think they have a country. We have the financial system. All we have to do is get our financial system into their country, and we'll control them. And they can think that they're independent, but they'll actually be a vassal of Great Britain." And so
That's
people
exactly
like
how the IMF works.
the
Exactly.
Warbirds, and who's the big JP Morgan, and these folks were instruments of the European financial system. So they were the ones that got the Federal Reserve created. By the way, in 1913 is also when the income tax was created. So you needed tax if you were going to create debt. And
Well, tax is a form of debt.
what I'm saying is that there was no income tax before that. So they needed to guarantee the debt, because we have a usury-based, debt-based system. There's actually more debt. There's more national debt than there is actually money in the world. We would extinguish just the American monetary supply trying to pay off the national debt. It's a Ponzi scheme. It literally is a Ponzi scheme. Our country is on a Ponzi scheme.
Literally. It's a scam economy, but broadly speaking, it is the entire currency system, the entire dollar system is a Ponzi.
I like what Chris Hedges says. He says it's a mafia economy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
It is. Look what Trump is doing.
It's
It's extortion. And just one more point, because I know that we've talked about my old friend Mel Stamper, but he claims through his research that the Secretary of the Treasury is actually the trustee for bankruptcy.
Yeah, you've told me that before. I don't know what that means.
It means that in the creation of the Federal Reserve System and the tax system, and also the foundation and trust system, which is how billionaires protect their wealth, within that web, the way that they were able to construct that architecture of that system is that the Secretary of the Treasury is the trustee of the bankruptcy, because the United States actually went bankrupt.
When did they go bankrupt?
I think they went bankrupt in the Civil War.
Wow.
Anyway, if we go through my friend's recordings, we could probably piece this back together, Mark. And
I'd like to do that.
yeah, I mean, if we could actually uncover this stuff with some real substance and weight behind it, who knows the kinds of interesting cases that might be able to be brought to bear, especially now when it's more needed than ever. Like the idea that there are states that say it's illegal to criticize Israel is just so un-American. It's just so fundamentally un-American. I'm not a nationalist first. I put, for lack of a better term, what I perceive to be my higher power or God first. So I don't have an allegiance to a nation over God, over the lives of other children. I'm not going to choose my nation over the lives of, I'll give my life for children I've never met before in another country. Okay. So when I talk about America, I don't talk about it from like, only of, I'm not really fighting for America. I'm fighting for freedom. And, yeah, okay, well, America came along and they created all these laws that they can't even abide by on their own. But I say these are these are rights that are, well, it says this in the Declaration of Independence. It says that these are rights that are inalienable, right? That they're endowed to us by our Creator, which means they're given to us by God. They're divine rights.
Well, they said that they were given to us by God, our Creator, but really what they're given to us by is something other than a man.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
it's
semantics.
not
Semantics.
men
Something
who
you're
give
born
you
with,
those
right.
rights.
It's not a privilege. It's not granted to you. It's
That's
not
right.
something you need to earn.
That's right.
You are born as a human being, and you are entitled to certain things just by being alive. Yeah.
I hate to be a killjoy, but I've got to eat.
No, I think I was kind of hoping to cut it short tonight, and I got excited at the end here.
Yeah, that was a good length, I think. It was like
That was a good little bit of excitement.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it'll be better than the state of mind I was in when I started on this, just depressed and overwhelmed and feeling like, oh my God, how are we ever going to do this? But, give me somebody to attack. Just give me somebody to attack and antagonize, and I'm all there. I love to antagonize.
All right, audience. All you millions
we have
out there.
one person.
It's me. It's me. Yeah. Listen,
okay.
As much as we can.
If this has any value
I wanted to test. I wanted to see if we could see the view up there, to be honest.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, it was great seeing you guys.
Likewise.
Yeah, likewise.
And,
as always.
I'll talk to you later on. Talk to you both later.
Ciao. Have a great night.
Take care,
Bye.
guys.
Billionaire Takedown out.
Now, Mark, don't hang up yet.